Welcome to the Studio 70 podcast. Our goal is for you to join in on real behind-the-scenes conversations about our projects and the people who make them happen. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, I'm Austin Parenti.
And I'm Phil King.
Together, we wrote with Hunter Forster, Knights of the Old Republic, the movie that we're producing and also the prologue that was released to our YouTube channel. So we're going to do a little director's commentary where we'll watch over here. And if you'd like to watch along with us as we talk through the production, go ahead and pull up Knights of the Old Republic, the prologue, in a separate window and get ready to click play. Phil will count us in when the time comes. But otherwise, before we get started, you were the cinematographer on this project, so really quickly, just to buy some time for them to open up that separate window, how did you approach lighting something that already was lit in the video game, yet there were so many lighting limitations in 2003?
Yeah, so when I first thought about how are you going to light this, if you guys can think about the Star Wars films, there's really no lighting there's not a ton of physical lights or practical lights that are in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right? Lighting fixtures is what I'm looking for. But they're just kind of lights in the ship. And so I'm like, okay, we're in the ship. And then I was just thinking through the game, what does it look like? And then just talking with you, I was talking with the director about what do we want to do? And you were inspired a lot by Star Trek.
Ironically.
Yeah, so yeah, I know. So I was like, okay, well, how did that look? And we were thinking about, hey, a lot of color contrast when it's there. We want it to feel sci-fi, but we also want it to feel a little bit clean, a little bit clinical. So that kind of inspired my lighting. And we talked about different lighting setups on the ship. There was this, what we coined the Scooby-Doo lighting setup.
Scooby-Doo. No, the Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch. Sorry, not Scooby-Doo.
The other cartoon.
Yeah, shout out Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
But Lilo and Stitch lighting when things were a little bit more, but as Trask and the engineer going through their journey. And then we kind of also had this kind of tealish blue lighting for Karth in his spot.
Interjected with the red alarm kind of.
Correct.
Depending on
so
how urgent.
Just a lot of we had a lot of this teal and a little bit of warmness orange, and then obviously with the red, and that kind of made me think, okay, this is how we're going to light it. This is how much contrast we want. Obviously, when the bad guy comes, things want to be nice and dark. So
right.
We did for that.
So we basically, looked at the game for a general inspiration, but then wanted to just add that sci-fi color contrast intensity.
Yeah. And we a lot, if you can see it just slightly, but a lot of overhead lighting. It's kind of like a little bit of time of peril, so you can kind of see that there's kind of the eyes are a little bit dark as everyone's kind of panicking with what's going on. Kind of thought about that as well.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you guys have the Knights of the Old Republic prologue pulled up in a separate tab here on our YouTube channel, TK TV. So let me run back to the console there and get ready to click play. And Phil, you can count us in shortly.
All right, viewers. If you guys are ready to watch with us, I'm going to count us in. We're going to go in 3, 2, 1, click.
It is always such a joy to type that in.
I know. It's just oh man, the classic. Oh man, that logo looks lovely.
Yeah, Christy made that, inspired by the original, fonts, but essentially our own thing. So the actual opening shot has the city of Taris viewable from space, which I decided not to add because I didn't particularly find that super realistic. Frankly,
the ship looks great.
Yeah, no, the 3D modeler who made it, Shiny FX, is awesome.
Yeah,
I did all this in Unreal. The laser effects and the explosions are comped in DaVinci, but otherwise it's just Unreal. Oh, the planet I made in Blender.
Yeah. Oh, this is my favorite shot that we storyboarded. I'm it's the game.
Yeah, even with the kind of fake camera shake that's done in post is the way it was done in game, really. Yeah. Yeah, the animated doors, the foreground element there came out nicely.
Yeah, I think that James is a beautiful Trask. He did such a fantastic job.
Yeah, we were like, wait, what blonde kind of militant actor do we know? And sure enough, James has done plenty of improv comedy in New York, actually, and has acted for us before.
And if you didn't know, he actually plays the Mandalorian in our Grey Trial series as well.
I thought he did a nice job of really taking the video game dialogue. He has probably the most dialogue that's just straight out of the game and makes it kind of believable.
Yeah. He definitely makes Trask way more exciting because you're just like, ugh, die Trask. But like James like smokes that guy and like he just is cool.
In one of the bloopers, my brother Andrew's playing the Sith Trooper behind James, and he like comes in and is like staring at them for the entire take and just like waiting for his cue to shoot. I'm like, Andrew, back up.
Classic. Yeah, these kind of dynamic VFX shots I thought really this was awesome. This is one of the early tests that Austin did and showed us, and I think really got people inspired.
Yeah, and it was just a test. Like, me and Stephen Hedger and Mila Timas just did some mocap fighting, and I was like, I wonder if this will work. It wasn't even going to be in the film, but then I figured, oh, that's kind of nice to back away from the central action and see what's going on, ship wide.
Yeah,
and hence Darth
This is
Bandon's
cool. Yeah,
reveal.
that's one of my favorite shots.
Yeah, let's see here. More animated stuff. Yeah, so Nick showed up, and we actually filmed his combat last, as we usually do, and did the dialogue earlier. But he drives over from Naples, like a 3-hour drive. Drives home the same day,
and just kills it on set.
Yeah. Yeah, here's that Sith armor you were talking about.
It just looks. She just did such a fantastic job.
Yeah, and giving it that Star Wars like weathering, where there's all the kind of grime and dirt that's built up over the years,
Yeah.
Sometimes the villains in Star Wars, like stormtroopers, are shiny and stuff. But
and it's like they've been through battles, like in it's like a kind of badge of honor to have dirty armor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Katie worked with us first on Iron Dusk, and did a great job as Femina. So it was nice to bring her back. It always feels like a homecoming when we've worked with actors for years and they return. But yeah, when she showed up in costume the first day, I was like, oh my gosh.
I know. And they killed it with the hair. It's like, oh, this is from the game.
Yes. No, they did their homework. Yeah. So this entire scene was added. You don't get to see this in the video game, but presumably it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it gives us an early peek about Karth and Bastla's relationship, which otherwise you only get after the swoop race in the game.
Correct.
It's cool to see this kind of father-daughter-ish, kind of competitive mentor-mentee relationship.
Yeah, I know. Especially if you guys don't know, because you haven't played the game, like Bastila is super young.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yet she's supposedly the commander of this mission, and we were just sitting there in the writers' room thinking, like, how preposterous is that? Like, Karth was a Mandalorian war veteran. Like, there should be an antagonism between them, like a gentle one, because they're on the same team. But there should be this sort of biting, I don't know, wit between them.
Yeah.
Okay, this has to be like my favorite little thing because it's such a fun nod to the game where, the game gives you tutorials on how to do everything.
Yeah, for real.
But it also feels like it could have happened.
Yeah, 100%. Especially since a lot of us end up just playing, the character with the vibro sword or vibro blade, but we're like, we're giving him the blaster.
Right. Yeah, and this was imagined out of the fact that we did make the engineer an engineer rather than a soldier, and so trying to give him moments where he could still shine, where he's not like useless. So he's thinking a little more mathematically and tactically.
Yeah, it was cool. I remember sitting there for a long time figuring out, okay, how are we gonna shoot this? Like, what's the insert? Like, do we need him kicking up the thing? And then where do we have to look?
Oh yeah, and editing it was wild. Like, what shot comes first? But I think it worked.
Yeah, it really came together.
Yes, and then our big bad reveal.
Yeah, this is cool. Little digital.
Digital Zolly. I think I first used that in Iron Dusk when they're looking down the elevator shaft.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's easy to do in a computer. Yeah, so this was another thing. Like, Bandon is set up as a villain on the Endar Spire in the game, but his entrance is so non-distinct, you don't really remember.
Yeah. No, it's just kind of pointless, and you're like, oh, this is that guy on the ship, right?
Yeah, like when you first meet him again later in the game, and one of your dialogue options is like, "You killed Trask." I remember sitting there the first time I played, like, what? What am I talking about?
I know, for real.
I completely forgot who Trask was, and I felt like I had never seen this guy before, except in his Darth Malak cutscenes. So tried to really juice that up a bit and make people feel like, oh, he's the guy.
I know. And Wesley looks great as Bandon.
That insert was Mr. Martin's idea too. He's like, it's not clear that Trask dies, and I was like, oh, I bet we can. So I went into the iPad and kind of made some extra.
This is the first thing that we shot.
Yes, Dante's first day on set with us. Yeah,
I remember shooting this. I had this like weird feelings. Like when I know that a movie is good, is like in the first 10 minutes, I'm like, I'm unsure what does even happen. Like, is this gonna be good? And I felt this way about this shot. I'm like, does this look good? I'm not sure. But then as we went through, I was like, okay.
Suddenly you're doubting your entire existence. But it looked beautiful. You also painted those boxes with your students.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Shout out to my sports broadcasting class, except for Kirsten, who's never there. but yeah, no, they did a great job. Yeah, we painted boxes to get ready, and it's really cool.
I'm trying to think of the dialogue. This is a very, really the theme stated for the prologue is here, where we start introducing the theme of like sacrifice, don't throw in the towel. Somebody kind of bought your life, so you owe it to them. I think you wrote this because I was like, I don't know, what would an Army veteran say, say, and it's very terse. I liked Nick's delivery as well.
Yeah, and Dante did a great job too.
Mm-hmm. And he had a few variants on takes. I had him go really big and loud, go really quiet. And I actually ended up editing in between, kind of using a little bit from both to have some strong dynamics.
This is one of my favorite sequences of the prologue. In my mind, when you had the idea of KOTOR, I'm like, how are we going to do this? Like, we don't have the bridge. Right. And it came out like everyone just did such a great job.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's a combination of fully animated mocap, plus some green screening, plus some this is normal LED stuff. Super easy when we're
with the
tight.
Chairs, but it looks like it. Like, oh yeah, this isn't the game.
And people might freak out because technically Trask is with you when you do the bridge, so we rearranged the order just a bit. And also, I remember this in the game. You don't set the ship to self-destruct, but the ship explodes in the game in such a way that it doesn't look like it was fractured by Sith fighters. So I thought it was actually, in a funny way, a little, perhaps even more accurate that he triggers this. Yeah. Or that someone did.
That's like, oh.
And as an engineer, it kind of helped us give him a little bit more purpose and function in the overall battle,
Yeah, it made sense.
Oh, yeah, this is the security droid. Every time, I've only done the computer spikes thing once. I just think it's so much more fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. This is great. It's just from the game.
Yeah, just to have the repair droid like gun down an entire room for you. I know it's more risky, you know, but...
Well, then I do the droid, and then I go back and do the computer spikes because you get the extra experience.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't know that.
So you can level up a little bit sooner.
I haven't been topped in KOTOR knowledge in forever. I had no idea.
Yeah, you can do both and get the XP. You lose the items,
Wow.
though.
Yes, we thought this was fun to slow down and make a little bit of a comedic punch out of this. In the game, Karth is way more urgent, but it's the first time they're meeting, and I even like Nick's little look he gives him, like, wait, you're the engineer? You're kind of tall and handsome.
Yeah, for real.
How is this the case?
Oh, man.
Fun.
This was fun. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but...
In the lighting, having some hints, though, at the future or the past. It's so nice. And I like that Dante was able to break out here and show a little bit more personality now that the fighting is over, you know? We could start to show, hey, this is going to be a fun film. They're going to be charismatic guys, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to be a delight. Oh, yeah. And ending with this without having him say his name.
Yeah. Super fun. That was a great
fans. That's for you guys. Like, this is your character too. It's not ours.
Whatever you named I know my first playthrough, I named him Trezar Gaius.
Trezar Gaius. I was Xynoth, which has been my kind of video game name forever. Yeah. But you could see just the tour de force, the amount of people that it takes to produce this. We had so many classes and students, and but when we get to the art section, you'll see Christy recruited so many friends and family from across the world. Literally, people in China working in New York and in Florida composing the costumes and the props. It's unbelievable. So anyway, thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and look out for the behind the scenes as we continue to produce this feature film over the summer, and we'll release the main project in May of 2026. So,
Oh yeah.
Thanks again for joining us today. If you enjoyed our content, consider subscribing. Studio 70 is a division of the King's Academy, a K-12 private Christian school in West Palm Beach, Florida. For more information, visit studio70.tv or tka.net.